Hello dear students of Standard 5. This is Shashwati Madam here, and today we start with the part 2 of your English Literature lesson 4, Meeting Miss Trotwood. As you know, this is a story from David Copperfield, and the boy named David, he was ill-treated by his stepfather and his sister after his mother had died, and so she went in search of his aunt, Miss Betsy. He had already reached Miss Betsy's house, and see now what happened. "If you please, ma'am, if you please, aunt, I am your nephew." "Oh Lord," said my aunt, and sat flat down in the garden path. "I am David Copperfield of Blunderstone in Suffolk. When I was born. I have been very unhappy since my mother died. I have been taught nothing and made to work instead of being sent to school. It made me run away to you, and I walked all the way and have not slept in bed since I began the journey." So David is requesting his aunt that, "Ma'am, if you please allow me to talk, then please know that you are my aunt and I am your nephew." On hearing this, Miss Betsy was totally shocked, seeing that dirty boy was his nephew. It was her nephew. And then David introduced himself, that "I am David Copperfield from Blunderstone, Suffolk, and you had come to see me when I was born. My mother has died, and since then I have been very much ill-treated." He told all that his stepfather did with him to his aunt. Here my self-control gave way and I burst into tears. My aunt got up in a great hurry and took me into the house. The first thing my aunt did was to give me lots of strange tasty tonics. Then she heated a bath for me. So after telling all this, David burst into tears. He couldn't control his grief anymore and he started crying. So his aunt got up in a hurry and took him into the house, gave some nice tasting tonics to drink, and then she heated a bath for him. After that, she gave me a shirt and trousers belonging to Mr. Dick, a nice old man who lived in my aunt's cottage, covered me with 2 large warm shawls, and led me to a soft, comfortable sofa where I fell asleep. And then Miss Betsy gave a shirt and trousers which belonged to one Mr. Dick, a nice old man who was living in his aunt's cottage. Then she covered him with 2 large warm shawls after the bath and led him to a soft, comfortable sofa where he fell asleep. That was the beginning of my aunt's adoption of me. She wrote to Mr. Murdstone, and he and his sister arrived a few days later and were scolded by my aunt for the way they had treated me. Mr. Murdstone said finally he would take me back, but if I did not return there, then his doors would be shut against me forever. "And what does the boy say?" said my aunt. "Are you ready to go, David?" I answered no, and pleaded with her not to let me go. She pulled me towards her and said to Mr. Murdstone, "You can go when you like. I will take my chance with the boy." So that was the first beginning of the adoption of Miss Betsy Trotwood of David Copperfield. That means she became his guardian. Then she wrote to his stepfather, and they both arrived, and they were very much scolded by David's aunt, the way they had treated that little boy. Mr. Murdstone then finally said, "Okay, I will take him back, but if he doesn't return, then my doors are shut for him forever." So the aunt asked David, "What do you want? Are you ready to go?" David did not want to go with his stepfather, and he said no, and then requested his aunt not to let him go. And that's when Miss Betsy pulled her nephew towards her and said to Mr. Murdstone that, "You can leave now. I will take care of my nephew." That's where we stop today. Thank you.